Sabi si ano. Lapitan mo si ano bro. Lapitan mo si ano, si Sir Alan para sa uniform. Sana ba yun? Ayun, yun. Ay. Subukan nyo lang pumila dun. Yun, yung mga babae dun. Subukan nyo lang pumila dun. Bibidyo yung kanina eh. Ayun yung Sir Alan. Ayun yung sa likod. Ay, ano ba yun? Ay, sorry mga kababayan. Ayun. Magandang tanghali sa inyong lahat mga kababayan. So, yun. Nandito tayo ngayon sa... Saan ba to? Timog. So, hindi ko na bibigay yung exactly location mga kababayan na. Nasa Timog tayo para sa magiging program o magiging future project ng ating government. Ayan. So, pinangunahan to ng PCUP or Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor. So yun yung PCUP mga kababayan. So hintayin lang natin muna kasi hindi pa naman nagsisimula kasi kakatapos lang nila mag-lunch. So ano to mga kababayan iba-ibang mga LGU yung kasama dito. Iba-ibang lugar. Ayan, so yun. So abangan na lang natin yung pwedeng pag-usapan mamaya dito. So yun, magandang tanghali ulit sa inyong lahat mga kababayan. So abang-abang lang tayo mga kababayan kung ano yung magiging result o pag-uusapan mamaya dito. Hoy idol mga kababayan, saan kayo? Yun naman Bambi, Elizalde. So mamaya pa naman, di pa naman mag-uumpisa. So ano muna tayo, waiting muna tayo, standby lang muna, standby lang. So shout out mga bayan, hello. Like-and share ng mga kabayan. Ang laki oh. Ang horse. Hindi ka ba sasama dun sa ano, mga kabayan, sa tawag dito sa PICC mamaya? 5. Hindi ka ba nakasama dun sa listahan? Tsaka ano din nakakatamad talaga kasi maulan. So maulan na araw ngayong araw, ayan, Tuesday. Yes, Sir Carlo de Mesa. Ayun, so standby muna tayo mga kababayan. Hindi pa kasi nag-start talaga yung pinaka-program niya. Ayan. So, ano pa kasi itong iba? Lunch break kasi. Naabutan kasi ng lunch break. Actually, 11 talaga. 11 o'clock talaga nag-start. So, yun. Naabutan kasi ng lunch. So, nagkain na muna yung ating mga malalaking opisyal. So maya maya start ng program. So antabayan natin mga kababayan kasi dito natin malalaman kung ano yung magiging gagawin nila. Ayan, in the future.
Dear partners, we're going to start with our event and our program in 3 minutes.
So yun na nga mga kababayan. So mag-i-start na yung program. Hi Papa. Papa Bin. Pupunta ka ba mamaya sa PICC? Di ko alam kung aabot ako mamaya dun. So ano to mga kababayan iba-ibang LGU, iba-ibang lugar. So mayroon sa Quezon City, Parañaque, ano ba itong ibang lugar?
Hindi kasi kakanta daw. Yung mga nandun.
So hintay-hintay lang tayo mga kababayan. Ayan, so malapit na rin mag-start yung program.
Yung mga nandun kasi kakanta.
So ayan, so share natin tong live natin mga kababayan para malalaman ng ating mga kababayan, ayan, yung pag-uusapan dito sa forum na to o dito sa event na to mga kababayan. So about nga to sa mga magiging future project ng ating gobyerno. Ayan, so pinangunahan nga to ng PCUP or Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor mga kababayan.
Mamaya yun tayo kayo. Ngayon sa mga kayo. Ngayon sa mga kayo.
So, mga mayor nga talaga, mga mayor.
Good afternoon.
Yun.
Hello po. Nag-bon appetit na sila, Sir Alan. So how about a big round of applause for each and every one of us na narito.
So yun mga kababayan, so start na yung program.
Ayan, I'm sure tayo po ay mabusog na. Ang sarap ng food na inihain para sa atin. No? So we will be starting with our event for this afternoon, and I'm sure excited na po ang lahat. To all our distinguished guests from the local executives of the National Capital Region and Luzon Region, to our partner agencies and offices, our PCUP officials, led by Chairperson and Chief Executive Officer Undersecretary Elpidio Jordan Jr., together with all our commissioners, the PCUP personnel, ladies and gentlemen, a blessed afternoon. We are all gathered and assembled here in this hall to hold the PCUP LGU Forum, expanding opportunities for the urban poor in partnership with the local government units The very first forum actually po for this term of our new administration under the leadership and governance of His Excellency President Ferdinand Edralin Marcos Jr. For today, we are your hosts,
Victor Alan C. Ilagan.
and yours truly, Grace Eusebio de Polonia. We are your hosts for the next 4 hours of our program. But before going any further, Sir Alan, may we ask our partners in this hall once more to please give each one a round of applause. Sige pa po, hindi yata kontento kami ni Sir Alan.
Salamat, Ms. Grace. To continue, the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor, with its acronym PCUP, pronounced as PCUP or PCUP, also stands for P, as in partnership. As we link our urban poor to government programs and projects, we forge partnership for them with all our stakeholders.
For C, that's collaboration. We collaborate and coordinate with partner local government, the national agencies, and other institutions and offices for the services and programs on housing, livelihood, employment, and the like. That is the readily available for the urban poor sector.
U for unity. We unite and work as one for the sector, irrespective of our own charters and mandates.
And for P, that's for peace, we aim for peaceful, just, and humane condition for our sector and envision an empowered and sustainable communities with comfortable lives, free from threats of demolition nor eviction. Yes, this is the very essence of our forum today, Sir Alan and everyone.
So that's right, Ms. Grace. Together with our partners, we aim high for the urban poor, or what we call in Filipino, Maralitang Tagalungsod. And so, dear partners, we will now start the program, for I'm sure that everyone in the house is that excited to know what's in store for us, for all of us in today's significant forum. For us to receive God's blessing, may I invite everybody to rise for the opening prayer to be led by the PCUP choir. This will be followed by the singing of the Philippine National Anthem and the PCUP hymn. ladies and gentlemen, the singing of the Philippine National Anthem. The singing of PCUP hymn.
Sikat ng bagong umaga, abot tanaw ang pag-asa. Sa bawat mata ng marina, makikita ang islang ng pag-unlad. Sa ating pagbabayanihan, maihalin ang kaginhawahan. Sabay sa pagsugpo ng kahirapan, ang pagtaguyod ng matatag na mamayan. PCUP, sandigan ng bawat Pilipino, para sa malitang kagalungsod, nagsisilbing tanaw sa dilim. PCUP, kasama sa panatag na buhay, kapit-bisig, hawak kamay, sama-sama tayo sa tagumpay. Ito ang aming panatag, magsilbing mukha ng maralitas, pagbuo ng tuntunin at programa upang makamit ang mga pangarap. PCUP, sandigan ng bawat Pilipino, para sa malalitang kalusot, nagsisilbing tanglaw sa dilim. PCUP, kasama sa panatag na buhay, kapit-bisig, hawak kamay, sama-sama tayo sa tagumpay.
Thank you very much, PCUP Choral. Thank you very much to our coach, Professor Frankie Marcos Medina. Please be seated. Itutubig ko lang po ang pangalan po ng ating Pangulo, ay Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos. Sorry po kanina, it's not Adrian, it's Romualdez, middle name po. Okay.
Adrenaline.
So maraming salamat muli, PCUP Choral. Upang formal na kilalanin ang ating mga bisita ngayong hapon, nais ko pong ipakilala ang ating Commissioner in Charge for the NCR. He is a seasoned journalist with 32 years of experience founding police and political beats in Metro Manila. He is a professor in political and social sciences in various universities and colleges. This commissioner also writes novels and songs in his spare time. Sir. Teach us how. Okay. He is very passionate in everything he does and is committed to help the marginalized sector of society. Dear partners, a round of applause for Commissioner Way Galupo.
Magandang lalaki po tayong lahat. Thank you for coming here.
Wala dun? Wala.
Pasensya niyo po.
Ayun dun, may isa dun.
Good afternoon, honored representatives.
Eh, dito ka naman.
Local chief executives, representatives of local
Ang sakit naman din ko isip.
National Capital Region and Zone, selected LGUs and NGAs, Chairman Elpidio Jordan Jr., my old friend, we go along with that. Doon sa aking tatlong kasamahan na co-workers ko, sa aking mga kaibigan sa panunungkulan, sa pamahalaan, doon sa mga media na nandito, kasamahan niyo ako mula noon hanggang ngayon. Okay. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this first ever local government unit forum hosted by our own Presidential Commissioner, Urban
Ano ba ito? Supervising
under the
Commissioner.
able leadership and stewardship of the Honorable Chairman here,
Rinaldo P. Galopo, Supervising Commissioner for NCR.
participants, delegates, stakeholders, and other guests who are here to witness this occasion. Among PCUP's mandate is to serve our country and our marginalized sector and underprivileged people in the society, particularly the urban poor, which includes the informal settler families who are the primary beneficiary of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Poverty Alleviation Program. Today we will discuss how we can join hands in serving the government's enablers of sustainable development. Although this has always been a fundamental question for the national government, our discussion today are timeless more than ever. The current global health crisis and economic downturn showed us the crucial contribution of science, technology, and innovation in addressing the challenges brought about not only by the COVID-19 pandemic, but also in supporting our society and economy in a time of a major turmoil. Alam nyo, medyo mabigat po yung dinala natin magmula pa doon sa nakarang administrasyon. Before we were tapped to join the government by no less than the President, meron kaming instruction nung dumating kami sa PCUP. Gawin nyo yung kaya nyo to help alleviate the poor. And mind you, if I tell you, nandiyan po yung aking mga FODs at yan ng mga area coordinators. It's not an easy task. It's easier said than done. Minsan, umiiyak kami pag nandun kami, nakikita namin. But, all this in the name of public service. The first ever LGU forum is setting a good example of unity and cooperation in governance as advocated by our beloved President. Today, we are holding a discussion on uniting and supporting each other in our effort in fighting poverty and promoting progress and development for our people. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to highlight some concrete initiatives that the PCUP will undertake. Among these are the initiatives to enhance our delivery of services to the people through proper linkages. And that's why you're here. That's why we invited you here. Of our urban poor to concerned agencies so that our countrymen may be closer to the government and they can obtain the support and assistance they need for the betterment of their lives. Also among PCUP's initiatives are the vaunted banner programs you can see here at my back that will be formulated by our very own Undersecretary Jordan, which shall be implemented soon to further improve the fulfillment of PCUP's mandate. Our work in the PCUP did not stop with the coronavirus outbreak. We had continues to hold on and have steadfastly committed ourselves to the mandate given to us under Executive Order 82 some 36 years ago. Sidebar lang, yung December 8, 1986, medyo mabigat sa kalooban ko. It was the time my mother died. So, and in the 6 years under the able stewardship of President Marcos and the able leadership of this man sitting in front of me, Undersecretary Elpidio Jordan Jr., we will persevere to do our best and perform with excellence. We are hopeful that our dear LGUs will help us to succeed. Tulungan niyo po kami para kawan niyo na. With that said, I thank you for your attendance. May our Almighty Father in heaven guide us and bless us in the performance of our duties and responsibilities as true public servants. I thank you.
Rinaldo P. Galopo.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Reynaldo Galupo. And now for the overview of our activity for this afternoon. We would like to give you one of our commissioners once more who originally hails from Caraga region. She is married to a wonderful and loving husband, Gregory Roa Shan III. She finished her college degree in Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Bachelor of Arts of the Philippines, Bachelor of Arts in Broadcast Communications rather. She was designated as Public Relations Manager and Coordinator in Mindanao of ACT-CIS Party List at the time when Honorable Secretary Erwin Tulfo was the then chairman of the board. She manages the dissemination of information and handles ACT-CIS programs and campaigns, facilitates and organizes meetings with selected sector groups and LGUs, held numbers of remarkable accomplishments and designation prior to this appointment. Dear partners, a round of applause for Commissioner Remedios S. Shan. She's also the PCUP Field Office Supervising Commissioner for Mindanao.
Remedios is Chan, Supervising Commissioner for Mindanao.
Thank you very much, ma'am. To all our distinguished guests, the local executive, local chief executives of NCR and Luzon,
Pala maganda po, may
fellow PCUP officials and personnel, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am here to present to you the overview of our activity. This afternoon, we already had our registration earlier, and we provided you with the kits. If you would check on your kits, there are copies of the commitment based on what will be discussed and presented later on. So after giving you the overview, we will be hearing on the opening remarks of our CEO and chairperson, Yusek Alpijo Jordan Jr. And after that, we will have an audiovisual presentation of PCUP programs and services. And then another audiovisual presentation of PCUP banner programs, followed by a briefer on PDC or the Pre-Demolition Conference. And then next is the presentation of the Urban Poor Solidarity Week or the UPSW celebration for the fiscal year 2022. And then we will be having an hour of open forum, followed by the reading of pledge and commitment and partnership. And then after that, we will have our ceremonial signing of pledge and commitment of partnership. And then the masters of our ceremonies will give us the synthesis of this forum. Lastly, the closing remarks to be delivered by one of our fellow commissioners. And after that, the adjournment of the forum. Of course, we will have our photo ops and after the adjournment. Also, I am presenting the objectives and our expected output of this forum. So what are the objectives? Number one is to strengthen the partnership between the PCUP and the local government units. Number two is to present the PCUP banner programs. And number three, to present the PDC or the Pre-Demolition Conference and the issues and how to address them. And number four, to identify the areas of policy formulation which may be adopted by the PCUP and local government units. And lastly, we're going to present the Urban Poor Solidarity Week or the UPSW and support of local government units into this activity. So our expected output after the forum would be, number one, the commitment from the local government units supporting the banner programs of the PCUP. Number two, the commitment of the LGUs supporting the celebration of the UPSW or the Urban Poor Solidarity Week. Number three, the LGU commitments on the PDC or the Pre-Demolition Conference. And lastly, it is also expected that the programs or policies which may be adopted by the PCUP and or the local government units in support for the urban poor will be identified. That would be all. Thank you very much once again. Good afternoon and welcome to this forum.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Toots. It was always a pleasure to see you. And now for the opening remarks, he will lay down the foundation of this forum. He is none other than our PCUP Chairperson and Chief Executive Officer. And allow me to introduce him to you. Our Chairperson graduated with a bachelor's degree in liberal arts and Bachelor of Theology from the Holy Rosary College Seminary. He served as municipal councilor for the local government of Awaoy in Masbate, and also served as a manager of private firms in his personal capacity prior to his service in the government. Committed to the Marcos administration's poverty alleviation programs, he initiated efforts to intensify PCUP's programs and activities aimed at promoting the welfare of the urban poor and of the country. With his vast experience in the business sector as well as in the government, he is active in promoting PCUP and its programs from the time of his assumption to the office. He already initiated his banner programs aligned with the 10-point agenda of His Excellency President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., promoting partnership with the private sectors, the academe, the non-government organizations, the civil society organizations, and the urban poor sector. Partners, let us all welcome ang tagapangulo at punong ehekutibo ng Pambansang Komisyon ng Maralitang Tagalangsod, Yusef Elpidio R. Jordan Jr.
Thank you, Ma'am and Sir. So everyone, hi.
Hello.
To the honorable mayors, our distinguished guests, my fellow PCUP officials, my co-workers and fellow public servants, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank you for accommodating our request for your participation to this event. The PCUP and Local Government Forum today, October 25, 2022, here in Luxon Hotel, Quezon City. Also, I would like to express my gratitude for opening your doors to our commission through our field operations divisions and area coordinators, who is implementing arm of the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor on its programs and social preparation activities to our urban poor communities in accordance with its mandates under Executive Order number 82 and Executive Order number 69. It is an honor to be standing here before you and welcome you to this momentous event. The past 2 years have posed a lot of challenges to both the national and local governments with the onset of the pandemic, which have greatly impacted the underprivileged and homeless in terms of housing security, food security, employment and livelihood opportunities, access to health services, among others. I have requested for this forum with you, honorable mayors, as I know that you share our vision for our underprivileged and homeless families to build a society where the poor are empowered, economically productive, and actively participating in the poverty reduction program and sustainable development of our country. Of course, it is also our way of meeting you and thank you personally for being allies of our urban poor. It has been PCUP's mission for an improved coordination and monitoring for the speedy implementation of government programs and policies for the urban poor. And enhanced accreditation of legitimate urban poor organizations for purposes of representation and policy formulation. I hope that this forum will be the start of a better coordination among us. When I assumed office in the PCUP, expectations were high, and I was faced with the issues concerning pre-demolition conferences that were already held and completed but was affected by the pandemic. Consultations with division chiefs were held in order to have a clear picture of the issues. Meetings with vital stakeholders were made to come up with measures to address these concerns. Later today, we will have a discussion on this in the open forum. The pandemic has made us more resilient, more productive through development of new programs, policies, and strategies to ensure that the urban poor will be able to rise above the storm, so to speak. Aligned with the 10-point agenda of His Excellency, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., for economic renewal and long-term growth, restoring prosperity for all Filipinos. The PCUP developed its banner programs under our administration, and these are the following. 1. Housing Facilitation and Linking Program, and that is Piso Mo, Bahay Ko. 2. Resource Mobilization Program, that is Lincoln Agapay Maralita, LAM. 3. The Urban Poor Data Generation Program, that is the PCUP satellite offices. And last, Collaboration and Partnership Program with our slogan, Pangunahing Serbisyo na Kailangan, PCUP Ambassador ang Katuwang. Majority of these programs will entail the participation of the private sector, which is one of the 10-point agenda through a public-private partnership. This encourages private sector engagement and investment for the benefit of the public above all. Our clients, the urban poor, are so unique as it encompasses almost all sectors. The labor sector, senior citizens, women's sector, children, and even the PWDs. What they share is that they fall within the purview of the definition of underprivileged and homeless, whose lives we should uplift through our respective poverty alleviation programs. One of the major landmark interventions for our urban poor is the institutionalization of the pre-demolition conference prior to the provision of police assistance, where the PCUP sits as the facilitator in these PDCs. In the course of this facilitation, we have encountered several concerns in its implementation and the compliance of the mandatory requirement of the Urban Development and Housing Act of 1992, the UDHA, in the conduct of demolition and eviction. These are the common issues in the conduct of PDC on court-ordered demolition and eviction. 1. There is no available relocation or resettlement site. 2. There is no appropriation for financial assistance amounting to prevailing minimum wage multiplied by 60 days, or the amount is not in accordance with the prescribed amount provided by the law. Nakakaawa po ang urban poor natin. These are the some of the identified concerns. Later in the course of our discussion in the open forum, there are other common issues we have encountered in our PDCs. In honor of the urban poor, the PCUP will be celebrating the National Urban Poor Solidarity Week on December 7, 2022, pursuant to Presidential Proclamation number 367, which will be participated in by more or less 2,000 urban poor. We will be showing you too the number of participants of each local government unit. We are hoping that we can show that we are in solidarity with them with your support to this activity. I hope that today, through this forum, inspire us for better discussion, better ideas on ways of making the urban poor no longer vulnerable, but are secured in their lives. In terms of housing and economic opportunities towards our vision of an empowered and sustainable communities and partners of both local and national governments in nation building. We cannot do it alone. Let us work together. Together we can do more. Together we can better the lives of our urban poor. My dear friends, this LGU forum is produced with a pure heart from PCUV family. With that, I would like to welcome you all again to this forum and thank you so much.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. Jordan Jr. To present before us the PCGP banner programs for 2022 and onwards, let us all watch this. Lights off, please.
Lights off, please. Lahat ng
PCUP Banner Programs. This is a program initiative of Undersecretary Elpidio Jordan Jr. Housing Facilitation and Linking Program. Piso ko bahay mo. PCUP ang susi nito. This is a housing program initiative for our homeless urban poor families, especially those affected by court-ordered demolition and eviction. This encourages participation of the private sector for assistance by providing lots where houses may be built with complete amenities that would be enjoyed by our urban poor families, addressing their security in housing tenure. It recognizes the increasing role that businesses have been playing in local development by going beyond mere corporate social responsibility. There is a growing realization that doing business with social impact is possible, which is blurring the gap between conventional territories of development players and businesses. This is particularly critical in sectors such as housing and urban development that have the potential to create significant social impact by tremendously improving conditions of life, productivity, and health of low-income communities. Resource Mobilization Program. Lingkod Agapay Maralita Program. The Lingkod Agapay Maralita Program is geared towards addressing the economic need of urban poor families by encouraging savings mobilization among them. In partnership with the private sector, the program also aims to build up opportunities for livelihood and employment, housing, and other concerns of the community. The program will serve as the light, so to speak, in building bridges of collaboration. An example of which are the products of urban poor who are beneficiaries of the PCU Capability Building Program, where they will have the opportunity to showcase their products in malls and other venues. Urban Poor Data Generation. PCUP Satellite Offices. The PCUP, in partnership with local government units, will be creating satellite offices in cities and municipalities in the NCR, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This aims to strengthen its intervention in urban poor communities in partnership with the local urban poor affairs offices, establish its database, which will be useful to both the PCUP and the LGUs in developing plans, programs, and projects, and formulating policies for advocacy in both local and national level beneficial to the urban poor. Collaboration and Partnership Program. Pangunahing serbisyo na kailangan, PCUP Ambassador ang katuwang. PCUP Goodwill Ambassadors Program. These are men and women from the business sector, the academe, non-government organizations, and the like, who share PCUP's vision of empowered and sustainable communities of urban poor families who volunteers their services and time to promote the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor, its programs, and may look for other partners that may provide assistance and services geared towards filling the gaps in alleviating the plight of urban poor families from poverty and ensure that they will become economically productive as partners in nation building.
Lights on, please.
Ating pong natunghayan ang AVP para po sa ating PCB banner programs na siyang tinuran din po ng ating tagapangulo kani-kanina. So, bago po tayo tumungo doon sa ating isang parte ng ating programa on the pagbibigay ng briefer on pre-demolition conference, please allow me and Alan, my partner, na sabihin sa inyo na meron po tayong mga programa, isa na rito, kung inyo pong natunghayan ng inyong mga kids, na rin po nakasaad na meron pong tulong na maaaring ibigay para po sa ating urban poor sector, katuwang ang ating mga partners sa local government units and the national government units. Ito po ang pinambagatang pondo ng pangarap kong proyekto at paano makakamit ito. So as to how, siguro po mabibigyan din tayo ng ilang mga pananalita or yung mechanics nito kung paano. So balit ito muna ay pagtutulong-tulungan natin ng ating mga partners na narito, chair, no, at mga commissioners ng mga LGUs and national government agencies, kasama na of course ang ating urban poor sector. And si Sir Alan, meron po siyang listahan ng ating mga lawyers bago natin tawagin ang ating isa sa pinakamagiting na abogado ng ating komisyon.
The chairman asked me to recognize our lawyers as they will strengthen the management of PCUP. Please rise as I call your name. Attorney Christopher Antona. Attorney Jayza Bulpan. Attorney Ferdinand Iman, the Chief of Mindanao Operations. Where are you? Stand ka, sir. Joe. Attorney Carl Cartedrilla. Hello, sir. Attorney Juliel Basay. Hi, sir. And Attorney Steve Santillan. Of course, we have our Commissioner for Luzon, Attorney Andre Nicolatayan. So there you have it, the set of lawyers of PCUP.
Thank you, Sir Alan, my partner. Siyempre po, hindi pababayaan ng komisyon ang lahat ng mga nagsisitulong po para sa ating maralitang tagalunsod. Sama-sama po natin gagawin yan. And everyone, dadako na po tayo sa pagbibigay naman ng briefer on the pre-demolition conference o ang PDC. But before we call on our next presenter, Sir Alan, let us first give some backgrounder on PDC. Every day po, ang PCUP is jam-packed with various clients mula sa iba't ibang dako ng Pilipinas. Dahil alam po nating lahat na ang PCUP ay nationwide. Meron po tayong mga satellite offices or field offices sa iba't ibang lugar ng buong kapuluan ng Pilipinas. Isa na po rito ang masusing pagkandak nga ng pre-demolition conferences ng ating magigiting na mga field workers or our very own area coordinators together with our mga hepe ng ating mga FODs. Sila mismo ang direktang katuwang ng ating local executives patungkol po sa mga programa para sa sektor, particular nga po on PDC concerns. Everyone, may we call on our very own Attorney Ferdinand C. Iman. He is also the chief o ang hepe po ng ating Field Office Division for Mindanao.
Thank you, Ma'am Grace. Good afternoon po, everyone. My courtesies to our Chairman and CEO of the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor, Undersecretary LPG Jordan Jr., our active commissioners, very active commissioners, Commissioner Ray Galupo, Commissioner Remedios Chan, Commissioner Paulo Huangco, and of course, Commissioner Attorney Andre Nicolo Taya. So, for the next 10 minutes given to me as my slot, I'll be discussing presenting the brief of the pre-demolition conference. In brief, I'll discuss what is pre-demolition conference, its purpose, and its coverage. No. Pre-demolition conference is simply a conference required by the Philippine National Police before it will approve the request for police assistance in the implementation. I'm sorry. It is simply an interagency conference required by the Philippine National Police before it will approve request for police assistance in the implementation of administrative or court order demolition involving the underprivileged and homeless citizen. So if the demolition and eviction does not involve underprivileged and homeless citizen and their dwellings, pre-demolition conference is not applicable. So kailangan needed ito pag poor families at saka ang gigibain ay ang kanilang dwelling. So what is the purpose of PDC? Pre-demolition conference actually is intended to stop or if not stop, minimize violence during the implementation of demolition and eviction, and to help ensure that the constitutional and the statutory requirements of just and humane demolition and eviction is complied with or observed by the implementers of demolition and eviction. Our government, especially the executive department, is employing different means to ensure that our urban poor are afforded the just and humane demolition and eviction process in comes sa kanilang demolition by employing first the local housing board as clearance before all demolition and eviction will be implemented. May clearance yan sa local government. And then, kung ma-implement na, meron pang another mechanism to ensure itong pre-demolition conference. No? Pinag-uusapan during the PDC kung ano yung pwedeng maitulong sa ating urban poor sector na maapektuhan ng demolition at eviction. At paano gagawin o implement ang demolition and eviction na hindi masyadong malakas ang impact sa kanilang economic, sa socio-economic ng kanilang status ng kanilang buhay. So ito po yun ang purpose ng pre-demolition conference. Kailangan siya before approval of police assistance. Kung maka-implement ang proponent ng demolition, the court or the sheriff or the local government without police assistance, then PDC may not be required. But I doubt if the demolition and eviction can be easily implemented, lalo na pag marami, without police assistance. So, ito yung pre-demolition conference. I will also discuss in brief what Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor has been doing for the past 10 years, no, as the presiding officer or the facilitator of pre-demolition conference. It all started in 2012. Although pre-demolition conference is already spelled out in the implementing guidelines of RA 779, pre-demolition conference as a requirement for police assistance came about in 2012 when the DILG Secretary, then Secretary Jess Robredo, wrote to the PNP directing them to require pre-demolition conference before they will approve request for police assistance in the implementation of demolition and eviction from the court or from the local government units or other agencies of the government authorized to implement demolition. Simultaneously, a letter was also sent to us, to the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor by the DILG, requesting the PCUP to preside all the pre-demolition conferences all over the country. When the IRR of EO 69, Executive Order number 69, was issued to implement the EO 69, which strengthens the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor on March 29, 2012, the pre-demolition conference as part of the PCUP's function is already spelled out in the IRR of Executive Order number 69. The next year, in 2013, the first PDC guidelines was signed by the DILG, PCUP, PNP, and the President of League of Cities and League of Municipalities. No? Ito po yung first PDC guidelines na na-recognize ng DILG, PNP, at saka League of Cities and League of Municipalities ang pre-demolition conference. From then on, we were already conducting pre-demolition conference. Although hindi pa siya na strongly advocated sa local government unit kasi hindi pa that strong ang advocacy, hindi pa that strong ang pag-observe at pag-comply ng pre-demolition conference as requirement. No? So in 2014, Memorandum Circular number 2014-82, dated July 17, 2014, issued by the DILG, requiring, directing all the governors, city and municipal mayors, the provincial and municipal DILG officials to observe the pre-demolition conference as requirement in the conduct of demolition and eviction for purposes of police assistance. So in these guidelines, the conduct of PDC is being done by the Field Operations Division ng Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And then the disposition of the cases after the conduct of PDC is also made by the Chief of Operations. Now for example, that time I'm the Chief of Operations in Mindanao. After the PDC, I'll just write to the PNP that tapos na yung PDC. We have already convened an interagency meeting to discuss the needs of the urban poor families affected ng demolition. And then, I just write to the PNP na tapos na ang PDC. And then, yung application ng sheriff for request for police assistance, ina-approve na nila yon. In 2017, came the new administration during the time of PRRD. The new chairman, PCUP chairman, Attorney Terry Ridon, made some modification of the process of PDC. Ang sa kanya, he made a memo number 005 number 17 17. Ang sa kanyang time is required na ang certification of availability of resettlement or relocation or certification of availability of financial assistance before ang PCUP mag-endorse ng approval of police assistance. So dito, although na-strengthen yung protection ng urban poor na hindi matutuloy yung demolition because walang police assistance, although na-strengthen yung medyo maraming deadlock ngayon. Kasi we are aware na maraming local government units are not ready sa mga court order demolition. No? Bigla lang lalapit yung mga tao na naapektuhan sa court order, hihingi ng resettlement and relocation. Tapos hindi ready ang local government kasi hindi naman alam na may incoming court order demolition. So, hindi ready ang local government, hindi ang PCUP maka-issue ng certificate of availability ng relocation or financial assistance, hindi matutuloy yung demolition. Parang naging deadlock, parang naging cause ng bottleneck ang PCUP. Although, we are just trying to protect the urban poor families na mga apektuhan. We want to ensure na kung qualified sila, may mabibigay na resettlement or relocation or financial assistance. So kung walang certification, walang endorsement to PNP, walang police assistance, mahirap ang demolition and eviction ma-implement. So that time, so ang daming complaint against us, maraming syempre ang landowners, ang mga sheriff would question, bakit hindi mag-issue ang PCUP, tapos nyo naman ang PDC, di ba? Kasi in the first place, we only facilitate and preside the conduct of pre-demolition conference. But now, and then after we conduct, we notify the PNP na tapos na. But now we don't, parang sinususpend ang PDC until may maibigay na resettlement na relocation. So naging issue siya. And then came the year 2019, meron na namang resolution na na-issue ang bagong ang set of commissioners, no? Ang set of commission na mas naging stringent pa siya na dapat ang area coordinator na nandoon sa area mag-certify under oath na meron talagang relocation and resettlement. Based naman din itong certification na to sa commitment ng local government unit. Kung nag-certify ang AC ngayon ng availability as certified by the local government unit, time comes when the demolition na andyan na, hindi maibigay, questionin naman ang area coordinator, nag-under oath ka, you have certified na may relocation at saka or financial assistance but walang ibinibigay ang local government unit. So, medyo problema, no? And then, ang certificate ng PCUP, ng PDC certificate is valid only for 90 days. Pagkatapos ng 90 days, hindi mai-implement, PDC uli, call na naman ng different government agencies. Dito, parang well-protected talaga yung urban poor families, no? Stringent masyado ang safeguard ng PCUP. Although, because we have encountered so many issues, no? So many questions, so many cases against us, no? In 2019, nag-issue ng another Commission and Bank Resolution, a resolution revoking Resolution number 05-2019, yung magse-certify ang area coordinator at saka magse-certify ang PCUP ng available resettlement and allocation. Kasi parang hearsay kasi nag-certify ang LGU, ang basis ng certification ng PCUP is based on the certification ng local government, which it may not be complied, no? Hindi na possible na hindi siya nagagawa dahil mayroong mga problema na ma-encounter, which is that is possible. So inayos siya, mayroong Common Bank Resolution revoking and then kinlarify yung guidelines ng PCUP. So tuloy na naman yung pre-demolition conference. But in 2020 came COVID-19 pandemic. Good chairman, PCUP chairman Alvin S. Feliciano, siya ang nakaharap ng time ng PDC. He issued a memorandum temporarily suspending all pre-demolition conferences. So, in a way na ma-prevent namin ang demolition ng ating mga urban poor families during pandemic, we suspended the conduct of PDC. No? Walang PDC. First, it's very difficult to convene ang ating mga participants sa PDCs because of the protocol ng social gathering. And then, second, of course, di ba, stay at home tayo, according to Chairman Feliciano. Stay at home tayo. Paano tayo mag-stay at home kung wala na tayong bahay? So, we na-suspend ang pre-demolition conference. Although, nang bumalik na yung, suspend na yung DILG Memorandum Circular na nag-direct ng pag-clearing ng mga road right-of-way, no, during pandemic, when it was lifted, may verbal instruction si Chairman Alvin Feliciano noon sa amin, sa Chief of Operations ng buong PCUP, na i-lift na yung suspension. So, although walang na-issue na suspension si Chairman Alvin Feliciano, but verbal instruction lang niya sa mga field operations, we continued na naman yung pag-conduct ng pre-demolition conference. Although, pagdating sa central office, kasi under the guidelines, the previous guidelines, all the issuance of certificates will be coming from the chairman. No? Ang groundworks sa ACs, then i-review ng Field Operations Division, and then we forward it to the legal office, and then to the chairman before ma-issue ang certificate. So it's so lengthy. No? Kaya during pandemic, umabot kami ng ang daming cases na pending, ang daming na-disappoint ng mga sheriff sa court, especially mga plaintiff, dahil na suspend yung pag-process ng kanilang pre-demolition conference. Now, dumating ang bagong administration with the leadership of our good chairman, LPG Jordan Jr., siya ngayon ang nakasagupa ng sangkatutak na pending pre-demolition cases. No? As kami nasa field operations, kami ang napafile ng mga cases dahil matagal ang action. Now, when the new administration came, gustong i-address itong problem na to. So, Chairman issued the 2022 PDC Interim Guidelines. Ang interim guidelines po is to address yung mga daming nakabinbin na mga PDC cases no, para ma-actionan siya kaagad. And these interim guidelines will be effective only until the new set of commissioners shall have reviewed kung ano yung dapat ayusin sa mga previous guidelines, and then makapag-issue na sila ng panibagong guidelines na mas simplified at mabilis ang pag-process. So, with the interim guidelines, ito po yung ngayon na process ng pre-demolition conference. No? PDC, as the last series of safeguards in complying with the government's commitment under the Constitution, the International Covenant, and Urban Development and Housing Act on the right to adequate housing. As I said, ito po yung last na mechanism to protect the underprivileged and homeless in time na impending na talaga yung demolition nila. No? In exigency of service and for speedy disposition of PDC cases, USEC LPGR Jordan Jr. issued this interim guideline on September 7, 2022. The actual conduct of conference has not changed. Ganun pa rin yung process, but it adopted a semi-decentralized processing of documents. No? Binabalik na niya ngayon sa Field Operations Division ang pag-dispose ng PDC. In general, sa pag-conduct ng PDC at pag-issue ng notice to the PNP na tapos na ang PDC. No? So, for the requesting for PDC schedule, the sheriff or the local government or the plaintiff fills up a written request submitted to the area coordinator concerned kung saan i-implement yung demolition with the attached requirement. Ganun pa rin. Yung kung administrative ang demolition, no, extrajudicial or LG ang mapapademolish, of course, merong clearance from the local housing board at saka merong administrative order ng demolition. And then for the court order, of course, yung court writ of demolition or final judgment of the court. Second, the AC conducts validation in the area, usually together with the LGU, either the MSWDO or the Urban Poor Affairs Office, to conduct socioeconomic survey to determine whether the affected families are indigent or underprivileged or not. No? Kasi if not, under these interim guidelines, the Field Operations Division sa local level can now write an exemption letter of the case to the PNP. No? Ang field operations na ang mag-exempt ng case. Before, dadaan pa sa legal, dadaan pa sa Office of the Chairman before mag-issue ng certificate na exempt sa pre-demolition conference. Medyo matagal siya kahit ang i-demolish na property is vulcanizing shop, no? Or hindi dwelling, or ang i-demolish sa property building ng malaking negosyante. Dadaan pa sa process. So now, with the new interim guidelines, sa Field Operations Division na lang, mapicturean ng area coordinators, tsaka ma-verify na hindi siya covered, hindi underprivileged and homeless ang affected family, at saka hindi dwelling ang i-demolish. There is no need for pre-demolition conference. Local na siya. And then, actually, na-discuss mo na ito. Next slide. So, for cases not requiring PDC, no, yung exempted case, the termination of non-coverage shall be carried out by the FODs. For non-dwelling structures, yung abandoned structures, yung vacant lots, kasi yung possession lang yung i-install, Photos, documents will suffice. No? Sheriffs are not supposed to request PDC on in these cases. Pero minsan, ang PNP hindi nagbibigay ng police assistance kung walang go signal from the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor. Naniniguro na rin ng mga police na ano muna kayo, magpa-exempt muna kayo sa PCUP bago kami So, kahit malalaki na yung building na i-demolish, minsan napipilitan yung mga sheriff that they will go to PCUP and request for exemption. And then, for cases subject to pre-demolition conference, no, yung mga affecting dwellings ng ating urban poor, tsaka cases affecting urban poor families. No? Cases involving not exceeding 20 families may be acted upon by the FODs through transmittal of PDC report and other relevant documents to the concerned proponent PNP. So pag 20 or less lang, sa local level na yung disposition ng case. No? Kami na, after we preside, we then notify the PNP na tapos na yung pre-demolition conference. Hindi na yung, at saka, certificate na ang PDC report na lang ang i-submit sa PNP. Meaning, hindi, in other words, hindi na yung certificate of available resettlement and allocation. Kasi, kung certificate of available resettlement and allocation, para in a way, meron ng interference ng judicial process, no? Kasi hindi na mai-implement ang court order demolition kung walang certificate na ma-issue ang PCUP o walang commitment ang certificate na ma-issue ang local government na may financial assistance or relocation and resettlement. So, this time, PDC report na lang. Ang PDC report will just state how many affected families, saan ang area, ano yung case na yon na implement ang demolition, at saka whether or not ano yung commitment ng LGU, spell out lang doon. Kung merong commitment ng LGU, nag-provide ba ang local government, nag-provide ba ang any agencies authorized to demolish ng relocation or resettlement or financial assistance na re-require ng batas. No? It will be up to the PNP, it will be up to the CHR, kung mag-file ng case against sa mga nag-violate ng requirement ng just and humane demolition and eviction. PCUP will just put on record na hindi na comply ang batas, no? And then we provide the report to the Philippine National Police for them to evaluate and then decide whether or not to provide to approve the request for police assistance in the implementation of demolition and eviction. For cases involving more than 20, balik pa rin yung process na dadaan sa office of the chairman. No? So, ang report, instead ipapasa sa PNP, na tapos ng PDC, i-withhold muna ng Field Operations Division at ipinapasa muna kay chairman, especially yung maraming mga affected families, for the office of the chairman to evaluate and to give us instruction kung paano i-handle yung case. Ano pang pwedeng gawin. Kasi mahirap kung mag-implement tayo ng demolition affecting 300 families, no? Yung social unrest, yung violence, and then it will reflect na paano natin hina-handle yung ating mga affected families. Of course, ito, mga informal settlers, no? Pumayag na makatira doon sa area. Thank you. Area na walang security of tenure, nasa danger zone, no? Kasi mahirap nga, and then i-demolish na sila, marami, medyo magulo talaga yan, kaya the chairman wants to retain his authority to review before the final issuance of notice to the PNP that the pre-demolition conference has been conducted or already terminated. So, under the interim guidelines, a 45-day period within which the local government unit and the concerned government agencies shall perform their responsibilities under Section 28 of RA 7279 shall be observed in the processing of PDCs. Under Section 28, no, I think second to the last paragraph of Section 28 of RA 7279, provides that in court-ordered demolition, no, it is the local government unit in coordination with the NHA and other government agencies to arrange for the relocation of the affected families. Yung mga qualified lang ha, not all naman. Yung mga qualified families na i-arrange ang kanilang relocation whether permanent or temporary within 45 days. No? After the lapse of 45 days, the court order shall be implemented. No? So whether meron ang local government or not, after the lapse of 45 days, the court order can now be implemented. So, sa amin sa PCUP, with the interim guidelines, we want to ensure that the 45-day period is observed. Kumbaga, nabigyan ang local government unit ng at least 45 days period within which to arrange for a temporary or permanent relocation, which is also, I know 45-day period is a very short time, no? Especially sa court order demolition, wherein the LGUs are not, hindi naman nakaprepare, no? Kasi biglaan yung mga court order demolition. So, the issuance of our report to the PNP, hintayin muna namin yung 45-day period for the LGU to have ample time to arrange for resettlement and relocation or provision of financial assistance to the affected families. Number 4, after conduct of PDC, instead of certificate, a PDC report shall be transmitted to the proponent PNP regional office, indicating therein that the PDC has been conducted. Hindi na siya certificate of availability of relocation or certificate of availability of financial assistance, no? But report lang na PDC, na-conduct na yung PDC. At saka ano yung mga commitment ng different government agencies. Also in contentious cases, no, although kahit konti lang yung affected families, pero medyo may mga gray area sa batas na medyo kailangan pa i-resolve, no? Ganon din ang ginagawa, parang affecting more than 20 families. Ipinapasa namin sa central office to give the chairman the privilege to review the case to make appropriate decision whether to go on with the termination of PDC na and then notification of the PNP na tapos na ang pre-demolition conference. Then meron ding provision dito sa interim guidelines that the FODs shall exert all possible means to help ensure compliance with the just and humane demolition and eviction under existing laws. No? Kasi kung tingnan natin, ito, report na lang ang ibibigay sa PNP. Mag-report na lang kami na tapos na ang pre-demolition conference. Hindi na yung certificate of availability. Kasi yung pag-certificate of availability, of course, deadlock talaga yun. Mahirap i-pursue yung implementation ng demolition because walang police assistance dahil walang certificate of availability of resettlement or relocation. Well protected talaga urban poor. Although, parang lalabas ang PCUP dito, in that case, na interfering with the court process. Di ba? Kasi pag-deadlock na kasi walang inisyo ang PCUP. So, dinagdag itong provision na ito sa interim guidelines na kahit na hindi na tayo nag-require, hindi na nag-i-issue ng certificate of availability of relocation or settlement ng PCUP as requirement for endorsement, no, a favorable endorsement to the PNP na i-approve yung request for police assistance, dapat gawin pa rin ng mga area coordinators ng Field Operations Division ng PCUP ang lahat ng coordinative efforts, no, lahat ng agencies, even sa landowners, to negotiate for provision of resettlement and relocation or financial assistance sa affected families para man lang ma-lessen talaga yung impact ng demolition sa kanila na talagang mai-implement na dahil nag-lapse na yung 45-day period. And then, the interim guidelines also remove the 90-day validity of the certificate of PDC certificate of PCUP. Now, as I said kanina, yung PDC certificate na pinapasa sa PNP, nag-expire yun noon. Nag-expire siya. 90 days lang. Kung hindi ma-implement, patawag na naman uli ng mga different government agencies. But now, wala nang expiry. No? Although, of course, if matagalan ang pag-implement ng sheriff in the local government after na-issue yung notice na nakandak ng PDC, hindi kaagad na-implement yung demolition and eviction, we still exert all our effort na i-monitor whether available pa rin yung mga assistance na ibibigay ng ating government at mga partners sa ating kawawang mga urban poor families na ma-demolish. No? So, that's all for my briefer. Medyo, I think lumampas ako ng 10 minutes siguro kasi medyo mahaba. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Attorney Ferdinand C. Iman. Okay lang po na napahaba dahil hindi basta-basta ang ating gawain sa pre-demolition conference. Sa haba po na ito ay napondo at ngayon ay sinasalo ng ating chairperson, Yusek Elpidio Jordan Jr. So, nais po muna natin bago po tayo dumako sa ating ikalawang nakalagay po dun sa ating programa, no? Yung presentation ng Urban Poor Solidarity Week. Just allow me po to recognize muna yung presence ng ating mayor and their representative po, Mayor Glenda Villa Hermosa of Montreal, Masbate. She's here po together with, nariyan po ba ma'am? Yes. Welcome ma'am. With her Vice Mayor Jerome Durano. Sir? And of course, thank you po, maraming salamat po sa inyong pagdalo sa ating partnership event na ito. Nais po natin banggitin din, dahil pinag-usapan na rin lamang po, Chair and everyone, yung mga lawyers natin na tutulong bilang ating mga partners. Narito rin po si Attorney Christian Jeff C. Episcope. I hope pronounce ko po well. Is he attorney? Siya po ang Regional Director ng CHR and CR at magiging kabahagi at partner din po sa usaping human rights. Attorney Christian Jeff Episcope. Ayun, si Attorney. Maraming salamat. Our partner from CHR or Commission on Human Rights. And of course, eto rin po, banggitin ko na lamang din na dito po ang ating mga PCUP ambassadors. Meron pong 13, pero sila po ay 30 na narito. Pwede po bang, pwede po bang tumayo para ma-recognize ang lahat ng ating mga PCUP ambassadors na narito po bilang ating kabahagi or partner din sa hapong ito, sa event na ito at sa ating mga gawain. Everyone, a round of applause for our PCUP ambassadors. Meron po akong 17 na kasama natin ang mga pangalan na naririto. Maraming salamat po, sir and madam. Thank you very much, our PCUP ambassadors. And another ABP po para sa ating matutunghayan na presentation ng Urban Poor Solidarity Week from our PIU and ITU. Dadako na po tayo sa pagpe-present ng audiovisual presentation for our UPSW 2022.
Ito ang Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor, lingkod ng Malalaking Tagalunsod. The PCUP, the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor, is a national government agency under the supervision of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. The Urban Poor Solidarity Week is being celebrated on December 2 to 8 of each year by virtue of Presidential Commission number 364. It directed the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor to initiate its celebration and also directed all government departments, agencies, offices, practices, and non-government organizations to extend their necessary support and cooperation for this undertaking. The UPSW celebration aims to promote greater understanding of the issues and problems of urbanization, urban poverty and squatting, and other related concerns. It is to foster unity, dialogue, and cooperation among government agencies, non-government agencies, and the urban poor communities in specific programs and projects for the alleviation of urban poverty. Celebrating the Urban Poor Solidarity Week is recognizing our urban poor communities as partners in national development and to make them feel that the government is here to help them towards achieving their dreams and having their own homes, secured from threats of demolition and eviction, opening doors for livelihood and employment opportunities for their economic growth. Local government units in support of the PCUP advocacy of the UPSW celebration hold their own celebrations in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And in the national capital region, the local government of Valenzuela, Pasay, and Mandaluyong have consistently celebrated this momentous week every year. Come December 7, 2022, the Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor will be celebrating the Urban Poor Solidarity Week with the theme, ika-36 na taon ng pinag-ibayong serbisyo tungo sa pagbangon ng maralitang Pilipino. Pusong PBBM, Pusong Pilipino. Urban poor communities from NCR and Luzon will be attending this activity with urban poor organizations from the Visayas and Mindanao who will be joining the celebration virtually. Highlight will be the message of support from His Excellency President Ferdinand Bongo R. Marcos Jr. to inspire, encourage, and assure these communities of our President's support and love for them. Further, the UPSW celebration will pave the way for the launching of the 4 banner programs of the PCUP under the Marcos administration. Represented by select leaders from each region will give their message of appreciation to the President. For this year's UPSW celebration, selected urban poor organizations or UPOs that have been accredited by the PCUP will attend this momentous event. More or less 1,000 UPOs from different areas in the NCR and Luzon will gather for this activity with the help of the LGUs and other government agencies and non-government organizations. From the National Capital Region, 285 delegates from Quezon City, 50 delegates from Manila, 70 delegates from Caloocan, 40 delegates from Makati, 340 delegates from Mandaluyong, 75 delegates from Parañaque, 25 delegates from Las Piñas, 40 delegates from Muntinlupa, 50 delegates from Taguig, 50 delegates from Pateros, 30 delegates from Pasig, 60 delegates from Pasay, 40 delegates from Valenzuela, 20 delegates from Marikina, 50 delegates from Malabon, 20 delegates from Navotas, and 40 delegates from San Juan, from Luzon, 200 delegates from Laguna consisting of San Pedro, Cabuyao, and Santa Rosa, 185 delegates from Cavite, consisting of Tanza, General Mariano Abacoor, Trece Martires, Cavite, and Dasmariñas. 80 delegates from Rizal, consisting of Taytay, Rodriguez, and Antipolo. 200 delegates from San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. And 105 delegates from San Fernando and Pamalacan, Pampanga. Part of the highlights will be the awarding of the Malalaking Award, which recognizes the stakeholders' significant contribution towards the successful implementation of government programs for the poor, serve as an inspiration for other stakeholders to adopt the awardees' best practices in urban development and strengthen partnership and linkages with people's organizations, national government agencies, non organizations, and civil society groups. Your presence to the celebration will be very meaningful as our urban poor communities have high hopes for a better future, a legacy that they can be proud of up to their next generation.
Maraming salamat ITU for that presentation. So, we are looking forward to the UPSW 2022 this coming December. Ngayon po naman, idarako na tayo sa pinaka-highlight ng ating event ngayong araw na ito. Two of our most esteemed and most seasoned area coordinators are chosen to moderate our open forum. Friends, they are none other than Mr. Robert U. Bonifacio of Luzon Operations and Mr. Winston Morelia of the NCR Operations. The floor is yours. Our panel of reactors consists of the Chief of Operations of Luzon, Director Denny Francisco, the Chief of Operations of NCR, Dr. Olympia Micor, and Joseph Jojo Jordan Jr.
Good afternoon po. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. So, siyempre, ang kasamahan ko po sa atin pong open forum ngayong hapon ay ang aking kaibigan at kasama ko sa PCUP, si Mr. Winston Morelia. Sir, po ang mic.
Magandang hapon po.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. So, siyempre, i-recognize lang po muna natin ang aming mga official sa PCUP sa pamumuna po ng ating chairperson and CEO, si Undersecretary Elpidio Jordan Jr., ang atin pong mga commissioners sa pamumuna po ni Commissioner Ray Galupo, Commissioner Andre Neculataya, Commissioner Paulo Guampo, and Commissioner Remedios Chan. At sa atin pong mga kasamahan at officials sa Presidential Commission for the Urban Poor, at sa amin pong mga Chief of Operations na naririto, sa pamumuno po ng aming Chief of Operations ng National Capital Region, pamumuno po ni Miss Olympia Micor, ang aming pong Chief of Operations mula po sa Field Operations Division for Luzon, ang ating pong Chief of Operations si Sir Rodel Francisco, at ang ating pong Chief of Operations from Field Operations Division for Mindanao, si Attorney Ferdinand Iman. Unfortunately, meron po tayong Chief of Operations for the Visayas, hindi lang po siya nakarating ngayong hapon. So, may invite ang atin po magiging panelist, no? Para po mag-respond po sa mga questions. Panelist po sila, reactors, hindi po sila respondent, no? Kasi po sanay na kami sa PBC. So, respondent na po yung ano. So, Sir Winston?
So, good afternoon everybody. Kasi everyone must be intimidated kasi kailangan natin yung mga namin pamunuan. And of course, with a lot of lawyers, let us not be intimidated. So, as much as we wanted to have this open forum, we cannot be so open if we were not so relaxed. So, pwede tayo mag-Tagalog para masabi natin yung mga relaxed natin pertinent to what is discussed by Attorney Iman kanina. So,
para ho maging orderly at pasilingin po natin ang ayos ang ating open forum today. Meron lang po tayo konting mga rules na dapat po natin sundin. So, ang bawat magtatanong po ay ibigyan po natin ng pagkakataon.
Yan na yata yung magtatanong.
Ng questions na dalawang questions po and follow-up question. This is para po mabigyan natin ng pagkakataon ang lahat ng gusto pong magtanong para po sila ay makapagbigay ng kanilang mga sariling katanungan. If ever, meron pa po tayong time at mayroon tapos na po natin, na natanong na po natin yung mga naguna na nag-raise ng hands, magkakaroon po tayo ng second round.
Saan yung papel na sa'yo?
Kasi kung hindi po naman ninyo hindi po na itanong, yung mga
Tatanong ba?
questions na gusto po nyo po itanong, bibigyan po ulit namin
Limited
kayo
ba?
ng chance na makapagtanong.
Saan?
Dagdag ko lang, we have requested our secretariat to somehow write your questions. It may be in Tagalog, kung gusto nyo mag-mic, mag-discover, pwede nyo isulat and give it to us.
Hindi mo magkatanong?
And then yung secretariat from Marie, isulat sila, no? Para dun sa mga nasagot ng tanong, halimbawa, pwede hindi na ulitin except for case-specific questions. Pwede na naman yung tanongin sa area coordinators na area at nandito yung ating mga LGU counterparts, no?
Pag-ask po nyo ng question, please state your name at kung saan po kayo nanggaling na LGU or kung anong organization po kayo nanggaling. Yun lang po ang kailangan yung sabihin, no need po na sabihin ang personal circumstances. No? So, direct questions po, ang atin po hinihiling, kagaya po nung sinasabi ni Winston kanina, unless ang atin po mga question ay case-specific o kailangan po ng mga facts. Ano po? Doon naman po sa medyo nahihiya po yung question. So meron po tayo mga sekretariat na magdi-distribute po ng papel na to para maisulat po ninyo yung inyong mga questions at kung may mga sapat pa po tayong time, from time to time, sisingin po natin yung inyong mga questions para kami na po ang magparating po sa ating mga panel na actors. Okay po ba? Sige po. So to start, siguro po ang gagawin na lang is to raise your hands. No? Itaas nyo na lang po yung mga
Babalik na.
at yung mga mag-a-assist po sa atin, si Ronel and
We have the first upaw head, no? Na magtatanong si Mamalita from Muntinlupa. Kilala. Ma'am,
Sige ma'am.
Baka
Sa
may
mga
preview
na
kasi.
lang si ma'am ng abutan na lang si ma'am ng microphone, please.
Actually po, hindi tanong. Kasi very, naman kami, active kami at may good work-based relationship kami with the CUP. Yung presentation ng kung gumawa ng ADP nyo, ba't hindi kami nakalagay doon? Meron na kami ordinance ba dyan sa PCU, PSD. Every first Thursday, 4 December. 4 December, meron kami UPSD. That's our celebration.
palakpakan natin.
Tama po natin ang munting lupa. So pagpaumanin po ninyo, pagpaumanin po ninyo, sa pagkakalam po ninyo, yung ating preparation for this activity, medyo na mabilisan din lang po kasi sa totoo lang, ang kagustuhan po ng ating chairperson ay makaharap po kayo lahat kaagad. At nang sa ganon ay kung ano man po ang mga dapat natin pag-partneran ay mapag-aayos po natin. No? So, and then kung sa mga mag-a-ask ng question, please pakisabi po ninyo kung sino po yung gusto nyo mag-respond doon sa inyong question. Ano po? Sige po, meron po ba? Pakitaas po ang inyong kamay.
Lapit po dito sa harap.
Doon sa mga kasamahan natin sa Secretariat, si Rodel at si Clark po yun. So please, lapitan nyo lang po yung magtatanong. So, para ho malapitan po kayo, hindi na kayo lalayo dyan sa inyong mga question. So meron po ba? Yung first question po.
Miss Nidia ng Pateros, upawhead ng Pateros.
Okay, Miss Linya, please. Miss Linya, na po yung microphone.
Good afternoon. Miss Nina Francisco from Pateros. Sir, regarding presentation conference. Actually, we have 3 families that have court order. Itong 3 pamilya to belong to Community Mortgage Program. They are calcitrant. Lumaban sila sa association, hindi sila naniniwala, and then may court order na sila. The order was released prior to pandemic. But until now, hindi pa sila na-evict. We have a letter coming from PCUP. They assess the mga consequent na to if they belong to underprivileged. Nasabi niyo a while ago, ang underprivileged will be assessed by the SWD. And this consequent belong to underprivileged. Pateros is the only municipality in NCR. We are incapacitated para dun sa financial assistance. At the same time, ang relocation site namin is for ISFs that were relocated because they're living in riverways. If Pateros is incapacitated to give financial assistance and to give relocation site, will it not be impossible na ma-evade itong mga consequences? Kasi wala kaming incapacitate kami para dun sa relocation site. At the same time, wala kaming may bigay na financial assistance na ganoong kalaki. 3,000 lang na ibibigay namin dun sa mga informal center na nire-relocate namin sa Baras. Ang ibig bang sabihin nito, hindi may evade yung mga consequences dahil incapacitate kami.
Sige po. I think the case ay sa NCR, so bigyan mo natin ng pagkakataon. Either si Chair, kung gusto po sagutin ni Chair, or direkta si Chief of Operations po si Ms. Pia yung sasagot po doon sa inyong katanungan. Ms. Pia, please.
Okay, magandang hapon po sa lahat. So maraming salamat Ma'am Nina for raising that question. Una po sa lahat, pag sinabi po natin Community Mortgage Program, isa na po ito sa programa ng pamahalaan patungkol sa socialized housing. Ibig sabihin po, ang mga benepisyaryo ng ating CMP ay nagmula na po talaga sa mga mahihirap na pamilya. So properly accorded na po sila ng benepisyo nila according po sa Section 28 ng ating LUDHA. So happen lang po na tinatawag po natin sila ng mga nagkaasinhan. So if ever po na magkaroon tayo ng pre-demolition conference at sila po ay mapabilang kasi sinasabi natin talagang mahihirap,